Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another Mitsubishi Montero channel video. This video is a video that a lot of you guys have been waiting for. I'm going to go really deep into this subject, but before we get started into that subject, first of all, I want to thank all the new subscribers, everybody that likes and shares my videos, everybody that comments and interacts with me via this platform. I know that I don't answer every single question, but I try to do my best. So if I didn't answer your question, sorry. If I answered your question, you're welcome. Anyway, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about this guy. We're going to talk about the instrument cluster. The Gen 3 instrument cluster, to some people, it's a little bit of a mystery. To some people, it's a piece of cake. And I'm here to tell you, it's a piece of cake. It's easy to work on, easy to disassemble, easy to repair. And some of the known issues that we have in our Mitsubishi world, we already know how to fix all that stuff. There's tons of videos out there that show you how to do that. As a matter of fact, I do want to recommend the video that Montero put out a few years ago, where he goes over some of the common issues on this guy, and he goes through all that stuff, and it's a great video. But this video, I'm going to get a little bit deeper into some of the functions and some of the repairs, some of the replacing of some of the light bulbs, what type of light bulbs we use, and stuff like that. I know that some of the indicators that go up here are a little bit deeper into the instrument cluster, and we have to disassemble a little bit more to get to them. There's one light that's not working in my Montero, so we're gonna get into that, replace the light bulb, and a couple of other things, a couple of other tips and tricks that I'm gonna talk about that I think you'll really appreciate. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get started. What do you say? Let's go right now. Let's see. So right now, let's go ahead and take off the instrument cluster. Now this process is very simple because all we have is just a screw here to remove this bezel or this molding area, and then we have another one on this side. Don't forget to turn your key off. And now we have 4 screws, one here, one right there, one there, and one down there. So let's take these guys off. And I like to use a magnet to get it out. Like that. and that's how you remove your instrument cluster. Now let's go to the bench and talk about the light bulbs, talk about all the other stuff that we just mentioned. All right, let's go. All right, guys, so now that we have this thing out of the car, let's talk about it in more details here on the bench. All right, let's do it. I'm gonna set up the tripod so we can take a look at it from top to bottom. All right. Okay, guys, so here we have the instrument cluster on the bench, and so let's talk about some of the common issues that the Mitsubishi Montero instrument cluster usually has. Now, another thing that I forgot to mention on my Montero, I mentioned that one of the four-wheel drive lights is not working. That's a common issue on these. Also, the indicator lights, when you first turn the key on, it does a bulb check. I know that my tire pressure warning system is not working. I'm sorry, the light is not working. The system should be working. The light's not working because the light doesn't come on when you first turn the key on, meaning that it does a bulb check, and that bulb is not coming on. The other thing is these little dots right here. When you put it in park, transmission in park, reverse, neutral, drive, my drive is not illuminating. So I know that that little light bulb there, it's either bad connection or the light bulb is bad. I'll double check that one as well. But the common issue with the Montero instrument cluster that most people run into, other than what we just talked about, is the temperature gauge going up really high when the engine's not really hot, and also the fuel gauge acting a little like not acting accurately, and then the speedometer not registering the mile per hour properly. Those are probably the three most common issues that that Mitsubishi Montero instrument clusters have. Now, for the gauge issues, there's a couple of resistors that you have to resolder to fix that. So in the back here, here's the back of the Montero. I'm sorry, the back of the instrument cluster. We have this little circuitry here. Okay, so we have the printed circuit here. We have all the light bulbs and everything else, but we have this little guy right here. It's held on by 5 screws. And if you take this off, it looks like they have a spare one here. If you take this off, it looks like this. See? This is from a 01 XLS that I got from the junkyard. So if you take it off, you flip it over, you have this circuit board right here. And the back of the speedometer plugs into these connectors here. So when you take this off and you put it back, a lot of times the speedometer doesn't snap in all the way, and it interferes with the needle, and that's what causes the speedometer to not read properly. So what you have to do is remove the plastic cover and push on the speedometer. Push on the speedometer from inside here so it can snap in here, and then get the face of the speedometer away from the needle, and then it'll read properly after that. So basically it's just not snapped in all the way. Now, regarding the temperature gauge and the fuel pressure gauge, there's a couple of resistors that you have to resolder. Now, on this circuit board, for the temperature gauge, you have to resolder the contacts, and somebody already did it on this one because you can see like burn spots right there. Resistor number 10, which is right here. So you have to resolder the 2 sections where the resistor mounts to the circuit board. That's for the temperature gauge. And then for the fuel level gauge, it's resistor number 12, which is up here. So you have to just get your soldering gun, get it really nice and hot, and put a dab of solder right on each side of the resistor, really carefully, really accurately, and that'll take care of it. I have done it a few times, well, maybe like 3 times on different Monteros, and it works. It's very simple. It works perfect, and it takes care of the issue. All right, now that we got that out of the way, those are some of the common things that are common for Montero instrument clusters: fuel gauge, temp gauge, and speedometer issue. The other thing on these is some of these light bulbs. We have different size light bulbs. For example, we have these blue ones here. We have these blue ones right here, and I have an extra one here. So it's these. I'm not sure the size. I know these are T series light bulbs. T series light bulbs, meaning that they're tubular. From what I learned from my research, they're tubular light bulbs, and then it could be T3, T4, T5, T4.7. I couldn't find online. I couldn't find a chart that told me exactly the information, but I know that these are all T series light bulbs, and they do sell these on Amazon. But it's really difficult to identify which one fits this setup, because they're not specific to Mitsubishi Monteros. They're just light bulbs that they sell that could probably fit any other instrument cluster from any other car. But I know that this mounting mechanism that these light bulbs have, I think they call it neo wedge mount or something like that. And it seems like a standard type of light bulb mount on instrument clusters, but again, I'm not 100% sure specifically the ones that fit the Montero. I was gonna get some random ones from Amazon and then try them out, but I decided not to do that because I have a bunch of them that I got from the junkyard. So we're just gonna try those out and we're gonna talk about those. If one of you guys is watching this video and you know exactly the measurement of these light bulbs, please let me know on the comments. That way I can share with some of the other guys. Okay, so we have this size light bulb on this instrument cluster. The next one is this other one. This is another light bulb. It's, the mount is black. It's also a tubular type of light bulb, and you can see the difference. See this blue one, and then we have this size one right here, and then we have another smaller one, which is these guys right here, and then these guys on this side for the Prindle selector. And then so basically it's this. So we have one, we have two, and then this is the next one is the number 3, which is, we have a bunch of them here, and then so those are out here. Now for the indicator lights, for the warning indicator lights, the ones that go in here, you cannot see them from out here. They're inside, but these are even smaller. Look at these guys. These are tiny little lights, and they mount on the circuit board. They have this little mount, and I'll show you guys how to remove them and how to put a new one on there or whatever. Okay, so in this case, we know that one of these guys, here's the four-wheel drive, the four-wheel drive indicator here. I know that this bottom right corner light is not working, so I'm thinking it might be this guy. All right, guys, so before we get into replacing the light bulbs, let's talk about the indicator lights here. As you can see, we have all these black light bulbs, these guys here, and then we have the blue ones. The blue ones are illumination. They're just for illumination on the back of your gauges. Okay, these black ones are indicators. All of these are your Prindle switch indicator, your transmission position indicator. So going from top to bottom, we have park, reverse, neutral, and drive. As I mentioned on mine, the drive, this guy is not working on mine. And then these 5 that are down here are your gears. When you're in manual shift mode, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5-speed transmission. All right, so I verified just sitting there on the driveway. You can verify 1 and 2, but you cannot verify 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, and 5 you have to verify while driving the vehicle. Moving on to these indicators, these light bulbs. These are your door ajar switches. So this is your rear door. This is your passenger rear, passenger front, driver front, and driver rear. You know, because we're holding this upside down. So if we were to flip it over like this, it would do a 180. So it would be on this would be on this side. This would be on this side. Anyway, you get it. Same thing with these 5 lights here. These are your 4-wheel drive system indicator lights. Now, this light here on the side here, this is your 4-low indicator. This one there, that's your center differential. This is your rear differential. And then we have the four wheels. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be passenger front, passenger rear. which is the one that's not working on mine right now, driver front, driver rear. Okay, so that's the way they're all set up. So again, these in color black are your indicators. Now the other set of indicator lights, remember I mentioned the little tiny ones like this? Those guys are inside here, and we're gonna take this apart. We're gonna check those out, because I know that my tire pressure warning system one is not working, so we're gonna check that one out. But for now, let's just do the easy ones, these guys here. Okay, so we know that your drive, so we have park, reverse, neutral, drive. So let's take this one off, this one here. Okay, and then we also have our driver side wheel for the four-wheel drive indicator. Remember, this is the driver side. This is the, I'm sorry, this is the passenger side rear. This is the driver side rear, because we have to give it a 180. So this guy is not working. That guy. Now I'm gonna take a really close-up picture and I'll put it on the video, that way you guys can see. So this is the transmission position D light. As you can see, there's a little tiny crack in the filament, and that's the reason why the light was not working. The other light is the rear passenger side four-wheel drive indicator. This bulb, I mean, the filament is just gone altogether. As you can see, there's no more filament. It's somewhere in there, but it's not connected. So there you go, guys. Alright, so as you can see on the four-wheel drive, the filament's completely gone. The other one's a little more hard to see, but you can see the little gap on the filament, and that's the reason why it's not working. Now, here I have some spare lights, spare light bulbs that we are going to install. We have these. I got these from the junkyard, as I mentioned earlier. So we're just going to put them on here, and they should, again, when you put these on, be very careful not to over tighten. Just insert, turn a quarter of a turn, and that's it. So insert, quarter of a turn, and that's it. Do not crank it down, not necessary. Okay, so we have those lights that are now known good lights. So let's remove, I'll zoom out here a little bit. So now we have to remove this cover, this plastic cover, and so we can expose the inside of this. Okay, and it's a very simple process. Basically, you have to undo these clips right here. See this one, this one here, and then all around you have these little clips here, and then on the opposite side you have these little tabs, and then you have that one clip. So basically, starting out from here, you kind of use your fingernail to wedge in there. See, this one already did. You can hear a little snap when it unclips. Then this side the same. You can also see, as you're doing this, you can feel that it's letting go. These you have to kind of pry. Don't pry too much, just like that, just to go over the little hump. Another one here with your fingernail, just get in there. Sometimes you can't feel it, and don't force it, because it's not letting go because the other one hasn't let go yet. So we have another little tab right here. Again, pry up, and then now this side is completely loose. You see that? But still, don't pry it all the way out. You gotta take your time with this. This side, there we go. See, now everything let go, and now we have this cover completely off. So we're gonna put this aside, put it aside, and now we have these gauges exposed right here. Now be careful not to get this area wet or dirty or anything like that. So just be super careful when you do this. Now the indicator lights are in this area right here. This area is very simple to access because you have these tabs on the side here. You have one there that you push, and then you have another one here that you push, and you push them at the same time, and then this area here comes up. So we push, they snap out, Now this whole thing comes up like this. Okay, so now we have this circuit board where your indicator lights are, right here. Now here we have 3 of those medium-sized light bulbs, like the ones for the 4-wheel drive system and the Prindle indicator, these guys. Okay, so these are for your turn signals, your arrows. And then this white one is for your high beams, the high beam indicator. I know that those are working, so I'm not going to mess with that at all. Now this little circuit board we have to remove. And it's got these little tabs that you pry back. So with your index finger you kind of pry a little bit up, and then with your thumbs you undo these guys. Again, these middle ones. Same thing on this side. Just be very careful not to over pry. You over pry, you break your circuit board, and you are done. Okay, so here we have the inside of that circuit board, and these are where all the little lights live. These guys right here. Okay, this is the area where you have all your lights. I don't know if you guys can see those lights in there. Let me put the camera here. Okay, oh, this is better actually. So see, we have cruise, anti-lock, everything. Service engine soon, high beam indicator, battery, automatic transmission temperature, windshield wipers, and that's the guy that's not working on my Montero. And here's your fog lights, and then your airbag light. And then look at these other lights here. I don't know what the hell that is. That there's no light bulb on this one for my Montero, for this warning light, or that one, or that one. I'm not sure. This is for other versions of the Montero, so I don't know what these lights are for. I'll probably look at the manual and check it out later. All these other lights are pretty common, you know, so we're all familiar with these other ones. But those 3 here are kind of weird. I mean, I don't know what that is. This is probably some kind of a maybe the daytime running lights, possibly. I know that some Monteros, they have a daytime running lights. I don't know what that is. So anyway, let's go back to the light bulbs. So you can, based on the shape of this, you can kind of tell that these, what these lights are for. For example, this one is for the airbag. This empty spot here is for the, what I was talking about, the probably daytime running lights, which my Montero does not have, so there's no light circuit there. And then this other one here is the fog lights. This is your turn signal indicator, the little arrow there. And then the one up here looks pretty black, pretty burnt out. That's your tire pressure warning system. And let me try to zoom in. So this is the one that we have to remove. And one way to do it is to use a needle, like this one, a strong needle, and just wedge it in the bottom, and then just start prying on it like that. And you can see it come out. You don't really have to pry. The needle, as you insert the needle, it'll push up the mount. Once you get it to a point where it's enough to use a little screwdriver like this, then you start prying it from the bottom very carefully. And then now that it's almost out, you can just pull it out with your hand. So here's the bad bulb right there. And then it has these little 2 tabs right there where this little mechanism mounts onto. Okay, so this is a bad bulb, and I'll get a good one. Here's a good one here. And if you're not using LEDs for these, because that's another thing I forgot to mention, you can change all of these to LEDs. They'll be brighter. You can change the color and everything else. I personally don't like to use LEDs on sensitive circuits like this. But if you were using LEDs, then LEDs you have to watch out for the polarity. If you put it wrong, it won't work. You have to take it off, give it 180 degrees, and then insert it. In this case, we don't have to worry about that because we're using regular incandescent light bulbs. So basically, hold it from the back, insert it in there like that, push on it, and now it's on there. Okay. The other light that was not working on my Montero is the cruise control, which is the one here on the edge here on the corner. So I don't know what's going on with this light. So I didn't see it come on when I did the bulb check. So yeah, I didn't see it come on when I did the bulb check. So I'm going to take it off and I'm going to test it, and I'll show you how to test it basically. So again, we get our needle, we insert our needle in there, just enough to get enough space for our screwdriver. Oop, there you go. So here's the light right here. Now, what do I mean by test this light? So what I mean is, with a 9-volt battery like this, okay. So just very gently, do not touch these two terminals together, but you can touch the battery. I mean, you can touch the terminals for the light bulb and then see if it comes on. And it does not come on. See that? Does not come on. So I'm gonna grab another one so I can do that same test. All right, so here's another bulb. I'm gonna try to test it out. See, now this one does come on, see? So this is the good one, the bad one, not good. Okay, so we have a good bulb, and we're gonna put it in the area where the cruise control indicator is. So now my light can work. And then you see how this kind of bent a little bit? So just make sure you bend it back in place so it can be straight. There we go. There we go, perfect. See? All right, so now we know that all of our internal light bulbs, or at least the ones that were not working, are now working. So let's put this housing back in there, and it's very simple. Same process as when you removed it. You align it properly, squeeze it in place like that. Make sure all these tabs are properly secured in there, and then now this just goes in here carefully. Like that. So now these tabs locked in, everything is back in place. Okay, now we have to put the cover back on. And then in this step, make sure that everything is aligned properly before you squeeze it in place. So now we know that everything's aligned properly. So now we just squeeze everything in place. That's the front, this is the back. So now everything is back to normal. So just to recap, we did replace the light bulb for the four-wheel drive indicator. We replaced the drive light for the Prindle switch indicator. We replaced the cruise control light and the tire pressure warning system light. So let's go put this back on the Montero and check those lights out. All right, guys, let's get this dash back on here. I'm sorry, this instrument cluster back on here. And all right, guys, so we got the instrument cluster back in. It's not bolted on yet, but it's just kind of it's in its place. So let's turn the key on and see, take a look at these lights up here. Okay, again, when you first turn the key on, it does a bulb check on all the lights. The one that I'm really concerned about is the tire pressure warning light. Okay, so now we have the tire pressure warning light. We have all the other lights. Some of them come on for a few seconds and then they go out. That's normal. The one that I didn't see come on was a cruise control. I'm not 100% sure what's going on with that, because I did put a good light bulb in there. Now, I do see the two rear four-wheel drive lights are on, but for these lights, it does a bulb check only when you start the engine. So let me cycle the key and start the engine. And when I start the engine, you're going to see all these lights, all of these lights come on. Okay, so you see all the lights are on, and then it's in two-wheel drive right now, so everything's going to turn off except for the rear wheels. The rear diff lock light never came on because this vehicle does not have a rear diff lock. Let's take a look at the drive light. Okay, so I'm going to put it in reverse. We have the reverse light, neutral, and then here's the moment of truth, drive. So now we have a D. When you put it in drive, the light comes on. That's normal. And again, if you put it on manual shift mode, you can see the number 1 light up, the number 2 light up. But if I go up, I can't go to 3, 4, and 5 as I mentioned before, because you have to be driving for that, and you have to be driving in manual shift mode where you're controlling the shift points. Okay, so let's put everything back together and give it a test drive. Maybe we'll take it for a test drive and I'll show you guys that. Alright guys, so I got these 4 screws back on here. Just remember, be sure that when you put these on, don't tighten them all the way until you have all of them started, because otherwise it'll be in there a little bit crooked or whatever. So just like tightening anything else that has multiple screws, you're not gonna do one all the way until you have all of them started. That's like a general rule. Now this thing goes in like this. Wait, this thing, I'm trying to do this with one hand, guys. So okay, here we go. So again, you snug this, make sure everything's aligned properly, and you have the screws that go up here, but then you have the clips that go on the bottom. So before you push it in, make sure everything's aligned properly. So right there, everything's aligned properly. Now we're going to push it so it can snug in place. There you go. There you go. So everything's snugged in place. Now we just have to put the screws up here. Alright guys, so that's it. Everything is back together. Now, one of the things I want to verify is I can see the driver's side door light on right now. So I'm going to open everything else and I'm going to make sure that all these lights work here. So All right, so here we go. So now all the lights are on, see? Even the back door. All right, guys, so here we are on the road, taking the Montero for a test drive. And as you can see now, my drive light works. As we mentioned earlier, we have the four-wheel drive light that's working. Seems to be working normal. So what we're gonna do now, just to test lights 3, 4, and 5, is we're gonna do manual shift mode. And for manual shift mode, you move your lever this way. Move your lever this way. Now it goes to first gear. See right there? Now, if let's say you're on the snow, for example, and you want your transmission to start in second gear, this is a totally side note here. So you go up once. Now you put your transmission in second gear. Now if you're in the snow, some vehicles know that function as snow mode. So now we start in second gear. Oops, sorry, I honked by accident. So let's go back to first gear, and we're just gonna follow the gears, drive normal. We're gonna be in control of the shift points of the transmission, and we're gonna see if lights 3, 4, and 5 work. So first gear, shift to second. Let's go to third. Boom. See the light? That light came on. All right, now let's go a little faster. We're gonna go to fourth gear. Again, the light's on. And fifth, there. See, number 5, the light's on. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So now we know that those lights work, which I thought they were gonna work because let's go back to automatic. I kind of knew they were gonna work because over the years I rarely use that function of the Montero. And I'm pretty sure you guys do too. Why manual shift when you can just automatic shift? So I knew that those light bulbs were gonna be okay. Now these light bulbs, remember guys, these light bulbs are 21 years old. So a lot of this stuff is starting to fail on our Monteros. Monteros are getting old. Remember, the latest Montero sold in the United States is a 2006 model year, like my blue Montero. And even that one, you know, you're starting to get to up to 20 years old. This Montero is 2004, so we're talking about 21 years. And little by little, your light bulbs are starting to fail, starting to go bad. And that's the reason why I made this video, is that so you can sort of, if you're new to Monteros, you can sort of know how to make those repairs. And as you can see, as you saw by this video, it's pretty simple repair. All right guys, well that pretty much concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Please like and share the video. Leave me a comment if you have any questions or anything like that. A couple things that we learned in this video is that not all the warning lights do a bulb check when you turn the key on. Like the fog light, the low fuel light, and the cruise control light. Those lights just don't do the bulb check. But we know that some of the other lights do. It was a little bit of a coincidence that the cruise control light, the bulb wasn't working, but it still doesn't do a bulb check, so it didn't matter. You know, it didn't really matter. So that's another video that I'm going to do, because I think there's something going on with the clock spring on my Montero, and that's the reason why the cruise control is not working, because it was working fine a few months back. So that's we'll look into that. We'll make a video, and hopefully it'll help somebody out. Anyway, also, if you guys, I kind of skimmed through this part, you know, the 2 resistors that you resolder when your gauges are not working. Let me know if any of you guys want me to do a close-up on how to do that. I'll be more than happy to do so. But I do know that there's a bunch of videos out there on the internet that tell you what to do and how to do it, and that's why I didn't really emphasize on the close-up on this. But let me know if anybody needs that information. Anyway guys, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one. All right, see you guys.